So this morning for yoga, we are going to start with, a lot of heart openers. Really this idea of kind of opening our chest and creating some space around our heart. And that involves a decent amount of back bends. So as you'll see some of the props I have, which we may or may not use, as I have 2 blocks. I have a blanket or 2. One of the blankets is rolled into a Tootsie Roll because I like to put stuff underneath my knees for Shavasana. And I have a strap. And I have a bolster if I might need it. So we're going to take the 2 blocks. One block is going to be at the upper back, so in between the shoulder blades. And you can have at the lowest height, the medium height, or the highest height. And then another block underneath my head for support so that I don't tweak anything or have any pain. How high the block is in between the shoulder blades makes it a more intensive heart opener, or more intensive back bend. So I like it at the medium height, but I invite you to play around with it to see what feels good for your body. So you see I have 1 block. This would be the lowest height, medium height, highest height. So you can see how that would be really intense. So I like medium height. And you might have to play around as you start to lay back to see like what feels good. Be right in between those shoulder blades. And then another block supporting the head. So I already feel like this is pretty intense. So I'm gonna change it to lowest height. I'm gonna bend my knees. This is kind of a supported fish pose. And I can already start to feel like an opening in my shoulders just by doing this. So other options with your legs. So you can have the bent knees with the feet grounded. You can kind of do a cobbler pose with soles of the feet together. Or you can decide to straighten the legs. So deciding what your body says it desires this morning. And just start to settle into the sounds around you. Listening to how your body is talking to you. I appreciate the heart openers. One, because I think I spend too much of my time rounding my shoulders, looking down at screens. Maybe not enough time with my heart open, willing to receive. Settling into the rhythm of your breath. Noticing any mind chatter. Without a need to get rid of the mind chatter. Just an observing. I'm going to inhale and the exhale. Noticing any experiences of discomfort. And in the practice of asana, of yoga, Discomfort is just information about parts of the body that may be tight, tense, or hasn't moved in this way in some time, which is different from pain, where the body is telling you, ouch, let's not do this. And so perhaps we can be friends with the discomfort that arises as we take different shapes in this practice. Just as we can become friendly with the things that show up in our life that may be unexpected and not desired. Perhaps we can breathe through it, soften just a tad bit more. Turning to the rhythm of the breath. Maybe setting an intention for your practice. The way of being, an attitude you want to cultivate. Maybe on the next inhale, we lift the arms up towards the sky. And relaxing the shoulders down, having the palms facing each other. Maybe bringing the palms a little closer together, imagining a block being in between the hands, and starting to draw the arms towards the floor overhead. Inhale, lift the arm back up to the sky. Drawing the arms back down overhead. I can't go all the way. I wouldn't be able to go all the way anyway, even with the wall not being there. Just shows the tightness I have in my shoulders. Allowing yourself, the arms to come back up to the sky. Opening up the arms wide. Maybe the back of the hand touching the ground. That full opening of receiving what the world has to offer. So in another moment or two, I invite you to remove the blocks that are underneath the head. So maybe that means rolling to the side to remove them. Coming back onto your back and just maybe a little bit of a shake just to move it around a bit, maybe moving the knees side to side if the knees are bent. We're gonna proceed to take do the 4 with the right ankle on the left thigh, figure 4. So I'm flexing that right foot. Maybe I'm gonna lift that left foot and maybe I'm gonna take my right arm through the little socket. Left hand meets the right behind the left thigh. Trying to relax the shoulders. Both feet are flexed. A little bit of hip opening. We're breathing through any sensations we might be experiencing in our hip area. And releasing. I'm just gonna cross my thigh totally over my left thigh, and I'm just gonna drop my hips and knees towards the left. Keeping my shoulders grounded, maybe my arms out wide. So my gaze is away from those knees. The twist can feel maybe really great on the body, maybe not. Whatever flows from the body to flow. Inhale, lift the knees up. And release the feet back to the ground, knees bent. Now left ankle to right thigh. Flexing that left foot. Starting to draw maybe that figure four with the hands interlacing behind the right thigh. If that feels uncomfortable, just keeping that right foot on the ground. Either way, we get an opening, hip stretching. Just breathing into those sensations. Relaxing both feet. And beginning to release the hands and creating that like pretzel with the legs, left thigh over the right thigh, and then starting to drop the knees down to the right. Gaze in the opposite direction of the knees. Where the attention rests in these shapes. Taking another full round of breath. Inhale, lift the knees up. Untangle and hug the knees into the chest. Swirling the ankles and toes around in all kinds of directions. And we're gonna find our way onto our belly. So we're gonna come into Cobra pose. So in Cobra pose, we have our forearms down, our elbows underneath the shoulders. We're pressing into the tops of our feet. Pressing into those forearms so the chest lifts, shoulders draw away from the ears. Another different kind of back bend heart opener. Just breathing into the shape. Feeling the thighs engage as they create a little bit space between the thighs and the floor. Feeling the engagement of the muscles, so many different muscles. Allowing the right forearm to come parallel to the top of the mat. Left hand comes underneath the left shoulder. We're just pressing into this left hand and looking over that left shoulder. This might be enough, or maybe you bend into that left knee and you feel that left foot or left heel trying to go towards the buttocks. Maybe the left hand reaches back. And maybe some part of the hand touches the heel or the foot, trying to open through the left shoulder and draw the heel in. And release. Left forearm replaces the right. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. Pressing into that right hand as you gaze over that right shoulder. Maybe that right knee bends. That right heel comes towards the tush. Maybe the right arm reaches back. Maybe it reaches for the foot. Maybe it gets it, maybe it doesn't. Maybe noticing how this side may feel tighter or looser. All the while breathing into any discomfort. And releasing. Allowing the hands to be off the mat. So we have like a wide stance with the arms. And we're just gonna draw our chest to the ground. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Drawing the hands in closer underneath the shoulders. Doing 3 more of these. Straightening the arms. Ending through the elbows as we lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. This time, inhale up to the knees into tabletop. And if your knees are cranky at all, perhaps a blanket underneath just to provide some comfort. We'll do several rounds of cat-cow here. So first we're making sure we have our all 10 knuckles down, shoulders over those wrists. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, round the back. Several more of these. Coming to stillness, flat back. Draw that right hip to the right heel. Left hip, left heel. Come to the top left corner, top right corner, and do a couple of swirls in this direction. One more in this direction, and then we switch our circles. Going in the other direction, warming up our spine, giving it a little love. I have Chris here with me, and he'll show you different variations as we progress through our practice. One more round. Coming to tabletop once again. I'm going to invite you to extend the right leg back, toes curl on the ground. Pressing that right heel away. Heart is lifting, shoulders draw back. So we try to keep that shape in our upper body throughout our practice. Feeling that stretch perhaps in the hamstrings. Option to lift that right leg, hover and flex that right foot. Still pressing into all 10 knuckles, still feeling the elbow creases squeezing together energetically. Maybe we stay here, or perhaps you extend your left arm forward, thumb up to the sky. Still keeping that right leg engaged and that right foot flexed, plugging in the left arm into the socket. staying here, or perhaps the left arm goes back as the right knee bends. And this might be enough, or perhaps you reach for that foot as you see Chris doing. But just because I'm not reaching for that foot doesn't mean that right leg is not engaged and that right knee is not bent. Heel going towards the tush as we did on our belly. And start to extend the arm and leg once again. Release the left hand, bend through the right knee and just do some hip circles with that right hip. Making sure to do a couple in one direction and a couple in the other direction. And I want you to pause, extending that right leg out. Bring that right leg out to the side. Drop that right foot down so the toes come down as well. I'm going to press into the left hand, right arm reaches up to the sky. Then I'm going to take that right arm and having it hover underneath like it's going through a tunnel. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, going through. One more, inhale up. Exhale, have it go through. Inhale, allow the right hand to come down. Walk the hands towards the hips, having the hands on the hips. Still pressing into that right pinky side of the foot, still drawing the shoulders back, elbows squeezing towards each other. Right hand is going to go down the right leg. Just in case you want to see it in a different way, my right hand is going down that right leg. Left arm comes up, side bend. And then left hand comes down onto the mat. Right arm rises. You can keep that right foot grounded, or I can elevate that right foot, flexing through the foot. And release, coming back up. Drawing that right knee in again. Inhale, lift the arms up. Little back bend as I'm lifting through my thighs, lifting through my belly and chest. And release. Coming back to tabletop, we'll do the other side. You might want to move the hips side to side. And then coming back to stillness. Pressing into all 10 knuckles again. Elbow creases squeezing together. Feeling the heart lifting. You're going to extend that left leg back, curl the toes into the mat. And this might be where you stay. And just feel the stretch in the hamstring, the back of the leg. Maybe you start to elevate that left leg, flexing that foot, noticing if you start to tip to the right and just trying to be in the center. And then maybe we extend the opposite arm forward, the right arm forward, thumb up to the sky, plug the arm into the socket. Maybe you stay here, maybe you bend through that left knee. Maybe you reach back with that right arm. Energetically still engaging that left thigh, reaching back with that right arm. Maybe the hand touches the foot. Really engaging that left thigh just a little bit higher. And nice, and release and extend the arm and the leg. Releasing the hand. We're going to move that left leg out to the side. Pressing that, all the toes down. Pressing into that right hand. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, thread that needle through. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. One more, inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift up. Open through that left shoulder. Release the hand. Start to walk the hands back towards the knees. Hands come onto hips. Drawing the shoulders back and down. Heart lifts, elbows squeeze towards each other. Pressing into that left pinky side of the foot. Feeling the zip up of those Kegel muscles or pelvic floor. We start to slide the left hand down the left leg. Right arm reaches up for that side bend. And release right hand down to the ground. Left leg rises. Left arm rises. So important to listen to your body and how it says it wants to move or not move. Release the foot, release the hand, coming back up to center. Toes are flat. Inhale, lifting the arms up to the sky. Feeling the hips rise, eyes engage. Release the hands behind you so that the palms are right on your tush area, fingers down towards the ground. Squeeze the elbows together. Feeling the hips, eyes engage. Feeling a variation of this camel pose. And release. Coming down into child's pose. Knees wide apart, toes touch. Sit bones towards the heels. Chest towards the ground. And coming back to tabletop. Coming into down dog if you like, or back into that child's pose. If you're coming down dog, curl the toes. Maybe bending into one knee, bending into the other knee. Alternating. And feeling the straightening of the legs. Heels energetically reaching towards the ground. Shoulder blades engaged. We're going to bend through the knees and we're going to slowly walk up to the top of our mat. I'm going to grab my blocks because I love my blocks at the top of my mat. So I'm going to stay in this forward fold. I'm going to reach for opposite elbows with my hands. I bend in the knees. Just breathing. Keeping my hands and my elbows. I'm going to inhale up the side, up the right side of the body to the top. Exhale down the left side of the body. Inhale up one more time. Exhale down. Pause and switch direction. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And coming back up to the top and hold. Just feeling a variation of this mountain pose rooted in your feet. Open up the arms up to the sky. Palms facing each other. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And release the arms. Feeling that full mountain pose. Arms by your side, palms facing forward, fingertips reaching towards the ground as the heart lifts, feet rooting, legs engaged. And we'll do one of my favorite pranayama, breath of joy. So breath of joy, it begins with half sips of air. So inhale, my shoulders go to my arms go up my shoulders. So I inhale up, inhale to the side, inhale all the way up, and exhale, bend through my knees. So inhale, 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 exhale. So we'll do a couple of rounds of those. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Ha! 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 One more. Ha! And then just coming back to that mountain pose and feeling the effects. Maybe a little woozy, maybe it enlivens you. I invite you to grab one block. I invite you to put your palms on the other side of the block and extend the arms forward. We're drawing those shoulders back and down, but we feel the arms reaching out. So we're not trying to draw our shoulders forward, we're plugging those arms in. We're gonna inhale the arms up, noticing where the tightness happens for you around the shoulders. Legs are still engaged. And we'll come into a chair pose, drawing the arms forward, bend through the knees, engaging those thighs, drawing the shoulders over the hips. So we can keep our arms here, or maybe we start to lift them. But we don't lift them too much that we start to see our shape be out of alignment around the shoulders. Getting some ease in the breath. Allowing the arms to lower. And then inhale, let the arms rise. And exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale the arms up as high as they can go without compromising the shoulder area. And come to stand. So we don't need to do much to feel the effects. Release the block. Back to mountain pose. So we're going to come into warrior one. So I'm going to drop my right foot back. Move my blanket so I don't trip. So it's kind of like train tracks. So my left foot is on one track, my right foot's on the other. I'm going to start to bend into that left knee. And then the arms are going to be just like I have that block there. It's going to start to rise. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, pressing into that right foot, bending into that left knee. Allowing the arms to come down shoulder height. I'm going to open up my left arm back. The gaze is going to try to follow it. Maybe I drop the left hand, lift the right. And inhale the left arm up. Feeling a little back bend here, reaching through the arms, but relax the shoulders. Start to reach forward with the arms. Maybe I pick the right heel up and drop it down. And maybe my hands come down to the ground. And I start to lift that right leg up, feeling this grounded warrior three. And my right hip is down, my right foot is flexed. And I'm still engaging that upper body. And I allow the right leg to come down and I fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale. And slowly start to rise up. Inhale, lift up. Arms, exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. So I am going to continue with these half sun salutations, and Chris will show you full sun salutations if you feel like moving in that way this morning. Just moving with the breath. Inhale, the exhale. And we'll all meet back at the top of our mat. Back to the mountain pose. And we'll do warrior one on the other side. We draw back that left foot. We move along that right leg. So that right foot is on the other track. We're making sure we're grounded into the left foot as we start to bend into the right knee. We're like energetically squeezing the thighs together. We have our arms start to rise up, shoulder height. Maybe it rises higher. We're just breathing, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, palms, elbow creases facing towards each other. Starting to draw the arms shoulder height. You're going to open that right arm back. Gaze maybe follows for a different kind of twist. Maybe that right hand lowers down. Maybe the left arm rises up, and maybe that right hand reaches for that left hip crease as Chris is demonstrating. And slowly starting to find both arms up towards the sky. Starting to draw the arms shoulder height. Starting to pick that left heel up and draw the heel back. And hands come down to the blocks as we transition into grounded warrior three. Reaching forward, lifting that left leg. Left hip down, flexing that left foot. Yeah, maybe we adjust the blocks a little bit more. Trying to lift that heart like a Superman, Superwoman, Wonder Woman kind of thing. Feeling that the energy of the left leg reaching away from the chest. And release that left foot down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lifting all the way up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Hands to heart center. Mountain pose. So we will try eagle pose. So here are variations of eagle pose. I like to have a block by my feet. So I will demonstrate it to you this way. Chris will demonstrate it to you that way. So we remember that chair pose. We come into that chair pose with the arms in front. Right arm comes underneath the left. Give yourself a hug. Or maybe we start to have the eagle arms come. Still bending through the knees. I'm going to shift the weight to my left foot. The right heel rises. And then maybe the right thigh comes over the left, and my foot just rests on that block. Maybe you don't need that block. And maybe I sit a little lower. Maybe I want to adjust the eagle and maybe the chest tries to come towards the thigh. And rising up. Releasing the arms. Maybe just allowing that right knee to bend. We're just bending through that right knee, flexing the right foot. Rounding into that left foot. And release the right foot. Shake it out. Coming back to mountain pose. So I'm going to come into that chair pose once again. And remember, you might say, chair is good for me. Maybe I peel the left heel. I start to lift the left thigh, and that might be enough. Maybe I cross over like we did when we were laying down on the ground. Maybe my foot, left foot rests on the block. Highest height, middle height, lowest height. Maybe the left arm comes underneath the right. I give myself a hug, lift the elbows, that's good. Or maybe eagle arms. Maybe I sit a little lower, bending through the knees a little bit more. Maybe the chest starts to lower towards the thighs. And rising up, releasing the arms, bending through that left knee, allowing the left foot to hover. Chest is lifting, shoulders back, rounding through that right leg, and release. Shake it out. And we'll find our way to the ground, whether you take a sun salutation to get there, or some other pose or shape you'd like, or you just descend. Wherever you happen to be is just right. We're gonna extend our legs out. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, folding forward, reaching for whatever you're able to reach for. Slowly releasing. We're going to bend into the right knee, hugging the thigh towards the chest. Left foot flex. You can stay here or you can cross that right foot, as you see Chris doing. So I keep hugging that chest to the thighs, and I'm going to bring my right arm back. Inhale, lift the chest, twist. Maybe the left arm comes to the outside of the right thigh. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. And counter twist. Left hand behind, right arm to the inside. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. Maybe coming into a wild thing with the right foot on the inside of the foot. Press into the left hand back and start to lift the hips. Draw the arm back. And release. Extend that right leg and windshield wipe. We're going to bend through the left knee, hug the chest to the thigh. Maybe crossing that left foot on the other side. Starting to bring the left hand back. Keep hugging the chest towards the thigh. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist. Right foot still flexed. Counter twist. Right hand behind, left arm to the inside. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist. You can stay here, or maybe you come into that wild thing with that left foot on the inside, starting to press into the right hand, lift the hips. Opening through that left shoulder. Slowly releasing. And lengthen the legs, opening the legs wide apart. And then just starting to walk the hands down the leg or down the mat. Just a little forward fold. And you might see, I'm really tight. And just become friends with that. And release. Bring the legs back in. We start to come down onto our backs, nearing the end of our practice. Hugging the knees into the chest once again. Bringing the left foot down, bending through the knees. Right hand comes towards the ankle or the foot for half happy baby. And bending that right knee towards the armpit, towards the ground. And releasing that foot. Coming to the left half happy baby, bending through the left knee, reaching for the ankle or the foot. And release. Hugging the knees into the chest once again. Drawing the chest up, shoulders up. Give a quick hug. And then releasing everything into Shavasana. Or whatever final resting pose you'd like to take, knowing you can always put that Tootsie Roll underneath the knees. You can always bring the soles of the feet together. If you have a wall nearby, maybe coming into legs up the wall. I like to hug my knees to the side with my hands behind my back. And then I just start to turn. And always bring the soles of the feet together. Just giving yourself time to rest, to soak up the benefits of your practice. All the effort now shifts into being. Allow yourself to be here as long as you can. Befriending the silence, the stillness. Reconnecting to the rhythm of your breath. Feeling free to rest a little longer if you have the time and the desire. Reconnecting to the sounds around you. And connecting to any intention you might have set at the beginning of your practice, or any intention you'd like to set now for the rest of your day or your week. Starting to bring gentle movement back into the body. Little stretches of awakening. Maybe stretching the arms overhead or bringing the knees into the chest and giving yourself a little hug. Starting to roll onto your side and pushing up into a seated position. Maybe with the legs crossed, if that feels good to you, maybe sitting on a block or a blanket or a bolster. Feeling the shoulders over the hips, the head over the shoulders. Palms come together at Heart Center in Anjali Mudra. We bow our heads as a moment of sacred pause, honoring where we've been and where we have yet to go. May you bring a little bit of friendliness, a little bit of welcoming, a little bit of heart opening into wherever you may travel. We seal our practice with one round of Om, reminding us we are all connected. Taking a deep inhale if you like. Lighten me honors, lighten you. And when we are both in that place, we are one. Namaste.